Please. Thank you, James. It is really truly our honor to have our featured speaker today. His work credits include extensive training at corporates across Southern Africa, such as Mercedes-Benz South Africa, Standard Bank, Axaro University out Witwatersrand, and many other organizations. He has been actively involved in setting up and mentoring communication and leadership development programs in corporates like MultiChoice, Vodacom, FSCA, and various other organizations. Andrew is a firm believer in the mantra, excuses or results. He believes in Napoleon Hill's statement that whatever the mind conceives and believes, the mind can achieve. This is evident by his numerous achievements, from recently being the Southern Africa Hall of Fame Bright Spark Award winner for innovation, Golden Goose Award for team leadership, to mention only but a few. Andrew was recognized twice with Distinguished Toastmasters Award for excellence in communication and leadership, the highest accolade bestowed by Toastmaster International. On his bio, he didn't say there's another huge achievement, which is how I get to know him. As immediate past the district director of District 74 in South Africa, he led his whole team into achieving SMETLY Distinguished District. Well, you know how big deal that was. Only that name, that title makes me jealous. And I reach out to him because I want to know all the tips, all the things. How did they do that? How can we all learn from the best of the best? And we are also achieve excellence and in your leadership journey and in our district. Today, he's going to talk about how to build and sustain a high-performing and winning team. Please join me, and with the great pleasure, District 74, immediate past, and three-time distinguished DTM, Andrew Tsuro.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, district leaders across the world. If you could paint a picture of a winning team, what would it look like? I'm sure in your perception of what a winning team would look like, you've put everything that you yourself would love to see it like. It could look beautiful. It could look fired up. It would also could look something that makes leadership look sexy. And that's just the ingredient. Make leadership look sexy with your representation of your ideal winning team. This morning, my time, it's slightly just after midnight. And I'm excited to share this because that to me has been the experience of a time of my life as a district director, having a winning and sustainable team that we have made, build, and set the standard. So, what did the journey look like? The journey to a successful and winning team, for me, is really summed up in the notion of a team is more than a collection of people. But how do we know this? We know this because on the 1st of July, 2022, we came together as a team. And when we came together as a team, we said we are going to look like a team, speak like a team, and then work on working like a team. This picture that you're seeing was on the day we were installed into office. In District 74, we have a culture of leadership installation dinners, and the district comes together and celebrates the new leadership and appreciates the leadership that has just served their term. And this was the theme. As you can tell, there's a bit of gold, there's a bit of black. There's no pink, there's no blue, because we wanted to look like one team. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the first step of trying and ensuring we made leadership look sexy as a team. Today, I'm going to share with you 7 nuggets that I found to be impactful in our journey to building this sexy looking team. And you alone can implement them in your own unique way. The first thing that we found that was critical was creating a psychologically safe space. In any team, and more so in a team where we are volunteering, and Toastmasters is supposed to be, and I would emphasize on the part where it says supposed to be, our tertiary hobby fun thing to do on the side. When you are leading a team, you want to create a psychologically safe space. Like I shared earlier, and if you've ever done the president's installation script, you would remember there's the part where they say, as president, you are a member of your team as well as its leader. A team is more than a collection of people. It's an emotional force. So it's going to be personal. It's going to be about each and everything that you do. Your energy is going to affect the other team members' energy. Create a psychologically safe space to account and accommodate vulnerability, and also ensure that you're making it okay in that team to not only fail, but fail without shame. Too often as leaders, we always want to think of winning and drive the concept of winning. So much so that when you find a person who's failing to achieve a particular result, they don't find it okay and they are embarrassed to cry, not only on their own, but even to the team. And so what typically happens when they don't find a space to cry within that particular team, they go elsewhere. And when they go elsewhere, they create a different narrative to the person whose shoulders they're crying on about how your family looks like. We were committed to creating our space so much so that it was psychologically safe for people to cry on each other's shoulders. I want you to try it within your teams. How can you intentionally create a psychologically safe space? What did we do in our team? We came together, removed all the makeups and masks, and were vulnerable to one another, shared with each other our weaknesses, and were able to invite the other team members to help us strengthen those areas of weakness. People shared personal stories, challenges, but most importantly, they shared themselves and found a space within the team. What are you doing intentionally to create a psychologically safe space for the people, for the emotional force that you want to see within your team. The second lesson that we actually applied was about understanding each member's strength. And the critical part about understanding each member's strength was remembering that each member is like a puzzle piece. They must know where to fit in. They are not strong at everything. Some puzzle pieces are corner pieces. Some puzzle pieces are middle pieces. Some puzzle pieces are edgy pieces. And so if they misplace themselves, that puzzle can never be complete. It's not going to be complete. But also, if they decide to take themselves out of the team, that picture is also incomplete. When you're building a successful team, you want to understand each member's strengths and where they fit in. So much so that each member recognizes their role within the team and how critical that role is within the team. And if they are not there, they are aware that that picture, that beautiful picture that you saw at the beginning, is incomplete without them. And so they cannot take themselves out, and we as a team cannot do without them. This also contributes to the first point of creating a psychologically safe space. So much so that when somebody's going through challenges, they don't decide to stay in their own corner so that they don't affect the rest of the team. No, we come together as a team, we understand each other's strengths, and we're able to bring each one in. What did we do in our district to help each other understand our strength? We did the usual, the DISC profiling system, which helped us recognize who are the analytical people on our team, who are the drivers on our team, who are the amiable people on our team, who are the expressive people on our team. They knew when it came to goals, they were going to bring Andrew, Kiamo, Granny B, and Tando to drive the steering wheel. That is not to say that Vui, Zivai, or anyone else who's not in the driver compartment cannot drive. It merely means we are going to put the best foot forward, and these are our best fit when it came to driving. But when it came to analyzing data, analyzing situations, maybe the drivers need to allow Zivai, Vui, and Lynette and Jabulo to drive the analytical aspects that we needed to analyze. The data, if you give it to Andrew, Andrew will take 2 years to consolidate that data and give the result. But if you give it to Zvai, Jabulo, Vui, they are like kids in a candy store. They love it. And so they will do it before you even ask them to do so. That helped us be more efficient and effective in our team goals, having people who were able to run across and ride the bicycle as we wanted it. There are times where there's conflict. Be careful of sending an Andrew to a conflict situation. I can assure you, though, a year later, I am much better when it comes to dealing with conflict. But they are amiable people who know how to approach a conflict situation and approach it with sensitivity and empathy. Clearly, Andrew was not on that list. And so Andrew was not the conflict resolution guy in the team. In this case, we discovered that we're quite expressive as well within our team. And I remember when we sat together and did this exercise, we would all say, because we're all kind of like avoiders when it comes to conflict, people were going to leave the team group instead of addressing the conflict that might arise. And so when people leave the group, we should know there's conflict that needs to be sensitively addressed. That, in our case, was us trying our best to understand each member's strength and ensuring that each member knows what part they play in the team and what role they could come in and support the rest of the team members. Do you know why each and every member of your team is a member of your team? Do you know what strengths they bring that they would like to showcase and be spotlighted for? That could be the challenge that you can set up for your team development. Number 3, focus on the mission. For you to win at something, you've got to be clear what it is that you want to win at. What is your mission? As district leaders, there are so many things that we could do. I can tell you for sure, even sitting here today, there's so many things that I look back, I would have loved to do and achieve. But there is a mission. Our mission in our district, and you would see it, was building new clubs and supporting all clubs in achieving excellence. Now, there's an arrow below that writing that I want to take you through. There is a direction where we want to go. And sometimes you might find that within the team, there are people taking curves, they're turning within that particular direction. Our role as leaders within the team is to steer the direction into one direction. At some point, people might not get it and might to turn back and maybe want to leave the team because they feel this is not what they thought it would be like. Some people might be going back and forth. Some people might pull each other and cut the corner and block everybody else. But ultimately, we've got to all be driving towards one direction. And that is what helps us to achieve the particular goals of what you're focused on. Think of it as a camera. If you take it on portrait mode, what you focus on is what is highlighted. What are you and your team focused on? And what are you blurring in the background? Have you made the right choice of what to focus on? In our case, we had a backside story of ensuring that we apply the Pareto principle. 80%, 20% of our effort, which would yield us 80% of the results. Our 80% of the results was focusing on quality within the district clubs and members. What quality we were building, and 20% was focused on the new clubs, and we were able to drive towards that. Again, focus on the mission. The fourth learning, walk the talk. I heard this phrase again just a few minutes before we started the session. But what does this actually mean? Talk is cheap, but money buys the whiskey or the drinks. So, how are you walking the talk? To us, it was as simple as saying what you say and what you do must be in alignment. That is how we interpreted integrity, ensuring that whatever we said within our small corners, our meetings, or within our district council, it's what we actually did. And so we would hold each other accountable and ensure that we walk together. And sometimes it means taking off our jackets so that we can actually walk the talk. And it might not look as sexy as it would have been if we were wearing our jackets. But you know what? We've got a mission. Not everybody will be as excited, but we are walking the talk. And as you know, not every time do you agree, but we had a principle that we applied as one of our operating principles called the Chatham House Rules. Once we've made a decision in our team, we don't go out there and say, John said, I didn't agree with John, but hey, John said. We would all come out and say, as a team, we agreed, even if one of us, two of us, or three of us were not in alignment. But once the team has made a decision, we speak as a team. We took the Chatham House Rules and they kept our space intact and trusting, so much so that anyone could be vulnerable. And we did not let external forces penetrate in between our team, because sometimes unproductive conflict can distract us from our mission. Remember to walk the talk. The fifth lesson that I can give: carry each other. This as a team of our senior leadership, which is our division directors and what we call the cabinet, where we are coming together. At this point, this was just after the renewals. And so we discovered that those that had collected their semi-annual dues and been successful, they were sitting comfortably and not helping the other. So based on the number of renewals you've collected, you would sit below and somebody who's following you would sit on your lap until they carry the weight. So everybody felt that they carried the weight. And we reminded each other, you are a division director of District 74 representing Division A, B, or C. You are an area director of Area 51, of District 74 representing Area 51, Area 50 or 2. You're not just an area director for your own small region. You are an area director for the district. Similarly, you are a president of District 119 representing X club, the district leaders club. That way, you found like you were creating a safe space where you carried each other. And that was critical for us. Number 6, celebrate each other's milestones and be happy for one another. It was important for us to celebrate and recognize each other. And I remember we used to have a phrase, what gets recognized gets repeated, and we drove that across. And it is something that I would like to encourage you to celebrate each other's milestones, because we work so hard. And sometimes our milestones, we look at them and we ask ourselves, what's next? No, pause, hold, take good time to celebrate each other's milestones, as that will fill up our cups to want to achieve more. And last but not least, keep the end in sight. Never lose the end in sight. You'll see it in a different color, because sometimes you will fall, but our greatest strength lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. And we rise because we are clinical and clear about our end in sight. What is the end in sight? What would you like to see? And remember, alone, we can do very little, but together, so much more. Alone, we can do very little, together, so much more. And what does it look like at the end? It looks something like this. We celebrate the end. This was on the 1st of July, 2023, when we're now celebrating our achievements. And what a beautiful memory to look back from where we've come from. And this is what I believe can help you develop, grow, and sustain a high-performing and successful team.